And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year?
I'm not sure, bro. I'm definitely not sure, but hopefully we could get it before. Nah, it probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
What is?
You might.
We will never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight Tefimo. He will not fight He will not fight those guys. That's just not who Tank is.
Tank has spent his entire career battling accusations that he avoids the toughest opponents. Critics have long highlighted how he never faced Vasily Lomachenko during the Ukrainian's prime, how he sidestepped Devin Haney, and how he's shown little urgency to take on Shakur Stevenson. Now, following the most controversial fight of his career, those same accusations are resurfacing, this time with Lamont Roach Jr. at the center of the conversation.
I already signed. My first contract is signed for an immediate rematch in the case of a draw or if I win. So I'm already contractually signed to a rematch. It's on him. I hope we can get it done because I want to show the world again that wasn't a fluke.
For years, no one had come close to dethroning Tank. Every opponent he faced was either knocked out or completely dominated. But on the night he stepped into the ring with Lamont Roach Jr., something was different.
Bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
You jabbed him.
before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say.
Roach didn't just survive, he turned it into a real fight. He went blow for blow with Tank, hurt him, and most importantly, left the ring, believing he had done enough to win. The judges didn't see it that way, scoring the bout a majority draw, but the boxing world was divided. Many felt Roach had exposed a side of Tank no one had seen before, and the moment the fight ended, one thing was clear: the demand for a rematch was deafening.
Feels that he won. Like, do you think the best thing going forward, they should just run it back, have a rematch?
Oh, yes, most definitely. I think a rematch is definitely called for. And I think probably, the sooner the better. So I would say, hey, let's work on a deal to where we could get in there within the next 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, I agree there.
Right after the fight, Davis began dropping subtle hints that a rematch wouldn't be happening anytime soon. His first words in the post-fight interview were vague. When asked directly if he'd run it back with Roach, he dodged the question, choosing instead to downplay Roach's performance, saying he wasn't as tough as people thought. Weeks later, as the pressure for a rematch continued to build,
technically his fans might not even want him to run it back because they might fear that he could lose again or he could draw again.
Yeah.
Tank might go find some other little dude to pull up, and then they're gonna act like, oh, yeah, it's business, it's business. It's like, no, it's not business, bro. He's picking and choosing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what's next, but my thing is this: I feel like if he don't fight Lamont Roach, he gonna look crazy.
Now, Tank has finally said it out loud. Not only is he not rushing into a rematch with Roach, he's already set his sights on a different fight. When asked directly about running it back, his response was clear: it will happen, but right now I'm focused on something else. That was all it took to send fans into a frenzy. It was exactly what many had predicted. From the moment the first fight ended, critics were certain Tank would find a way to move on without giving Roach another shot.
Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next. You might say that in a minute.
With Tank's latest admission, the criticism is only getting louder. Once again, fans are labeling him a fighter who carefully picks his opponents, someone unwilling to face real threats back-to-back. If Roach was able to push Tank to a draw the first time, the question now is, what happens in a rematch when Roach comes back even better? That's the conversation dominating boxing circles, and Tank's refusal to fully commit to the rematch is only adding fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Roach has been relentless. He's made it clear he wants the rematch, now calling Tank out repeatedly and demanding the chance to settle the score. But Tank's camp sees things differently. They even believe Tank didn't break any rules and did enough to silence the doubt.
Concerned at all that it could get overturned, and what'd you think when they upheld it?
I thought they were, upheld it. He didn't break the rules. A lot of people seen him take a knee and thought he broke a rule, but hey, they did the right thing.
Tank's team may have made things even worse. They went as far as to claim that Davis and his camp are afraid of what might happen in a second fight. Whether that's true or not, it struck a nerve, because it's exactly what many fans are starting to believe. Tank has never been in this kind of position before. He's always been the dominant force, the knockout artist who left no room for doubt. But now, for the first time in his career, the public is uncertain. For the first time, there's a real debate about whether he's as unbeatable as he once seemed. And with every day he delays the rematch, that doubt grows, making him look more vulnerable than ever.
Not a boxing aficionado, but I'm disappointed when I hear him say that we won't be able to see the rematch in 2025, and we're still in the first quarter, right? So that's kind of disappointing, right? So that lets you know the anticipation that people have.
Of course, Tank's fans argue that he has every right to move on if he chooses. They say he's the A-side, the superstar, and that he doesn't owe Roach anything. If Roach really wants the rematch, he can wait. That's how boxing works. The biggest names call the shots, and Tank is one of the biggest names in the sport. But even some of his most loyal supporters are starting to grow frustrated. They want to see him in fights that prove he's the best, not ones surrounded by excuses or delays. They want to see him settle unfinished business. And right now, the Roach rematch sits firmly at the top of that list.
In case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long we take it?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's gonna be soon. I'm hoping it's gonna be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
Roach stepped into the ring as the underdog, but he...
The more Tank talks about his other plans, the more people assume he's ducking Roach. And it doesn't help that he still hasn't revealed what this mysterious focus actually is. If it's another big fight, why not announce it? Why keep it under wraps? That's what has fans suspicious. If he's lining up a showdown with another top name, maybe he has a case. But if it turns out to be just another carefully chosen opponent, the backlash is only going to get worse. For years, fans have waited to see Tank take on the very best. And now, when a true challenger is right in front of him, he seems to be backing away. Whether it's strategy, ego, or fear, only Tank knows the real reason.
Gary Jonas shed some light on the negotiations for the rematch. While he didn't give too many details, Jonas did say that the second bout between Davis and Roach Jr. is all but finalized. Let's hear what he got to say right now.
Important question on everyone's mind: how close is the rematch? How big will it be? How close is it to getting done?
Very close. It's in my mind, it's a done deal, but there are formalities, but it's a done deal, and it's not far off.
Still, even if Tank has the final say on whether the rematch with Lamont Roach Jr. happens, not everyone in the boxing world is eager to see it right away. Keyshawn Davis, for one, has made it clear. He's got other plans, and none of them include watching Tank step back into the ring with Roach anytime soon. Why? Because Keyshawn sees something bigger for himself. He's chasing his own moment, and he's not afraid to say it out loud. Fresh off his dominant win over Dennis Barrios, Keyshawn Davis is holding on to the WBO lightweight title and eyeing the biggest names in the division. But his vision goes beyond just chasing belts. It's about controlling the narrative. And that's why he's now talking about facing Lamont Roach Jr. himself. This isn't just about creating a big fight. It's about positioning himself as the real future of the lightweight division.
Lamont, I think that just gives him more motivation to go out there, do the rematch, and as well, the people want to see it. You know, that kind of gives it the controversial, look into it. It makes it more intriguing to everybody and want to watch the second fight.
All right, what happens in the second fight? Same fight, or what do you think?
No, I think Lamont's going to push more, but I think that even gives Tank a little bit more openings to maybe even finish the job better. But it goes to show you, I mean, hey, the hunger needs to be there. And I think Tank probably needed this too to kind of...
The timing couldn't be better either. The controversy surrounding the first Davis-Roach fight has left a bitter taste in the mouths of fans, and many still believe Roach deserved to win outright. A fight between Roach and Keyshawn Davis would do two things. It would give Roach another massive opportunity, and more importantly, allow Keyshawn to make a statement before Tank even gets the chance.
I feel like me and Lamont Roach, stylistically, is the hottest fight in the weight division. Yeah. Lamont Roach stood right there with Gervonta, the hardest puncher in the division, right? Ooh. So put him up against me, I'm not going nowhere.
Y'all really gonna box, man.
We're gonna fight. I feel like stylistically, that's one of the best matchups in the division for sure.
It's gonna be a lot of rolling in that fight.
You know, Keyshawn's interest in fighting. Roach goes beyond just talk. During an interview on the Danza Project, he made it clear that he sees their matchup as the most exciting fight in the division. Me and Lamont Roach, stylistically, is the hottest fight in the weight division for sure, he said, giving Roach credit for the performance that earned him so much respect. But respect doesn't mean hesitation. Keyshawn is ready, and if he gets his way, he'll face Roach before Tank ever steps back into the ring with him. This throws a whole new twist into the conversation about the rematch. If Keyshawn and Roach fight before Tank does, what does that mean for the rematch? If Roach loses, Tank suddenly has the perfect excuse to move on, claiming Roach was never that good in the first place.
Credit thing is, he's still a pound for pound fighter.
Yeah. What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night.
If Roach wins, the rematch becomes even bigger. But now, Keyshawn has inserted himself as a major player, and Tank has to deal with both of them. This is no longer just about one fight. It's about how the entire division shakes out. Eddie Hearn has already made it clear. If the rematch does happen, it's going to be a bigger event than the first. Now Davis has got a rematch that's actually much bigger than the first fight, Hearn said during a March 27th interview with Fight Hub TV. But does that mean it's actually happening? Nothing is signed yet, and the longer Tank stays quiet, the more suspicious people get. Hearn added, I think he'll be more switched on for this. Maybe. But Roach is a good fighter. It won't be easy. That's the part that keeps getting overlooked. Tank didn't dominate Roach. He didn't cruise to an easy victory. He struggled, and for a fighter with Tank's reputation, that's a serious problem.
He should have lost the fight. I mean, he should have had a point deducted. There's no doubt about that. But two, people criticised the Roach fight. I knew it would be a good fight because we know Roach is a good fighter, but people in boxing know that Roach is a good fighter. Now it's giving him another fight. Because if he would have beaten Roach, he's kind of backed in a corner to fight Shakur Stevenson, I think. But now he's got a rematch that's actually much bigger than the first fight. So yeah, I think he'll be more switched on for this maybe, but Roach is a good fighter, it won't be easy.
The controversy surrounding that first fight isn't going away anytime soon. The moment Tank delivered that illegal knee to Roach, everything changed. That moment should have cost him the fight. If the referee had made the correct call, Tank would have suffered his first official loss as a pro. Instead, he got away with it, and the fight was scored a draw. The backlash was immediate. Fans called it a robbery. Analysts pointed out how Tank should have been disqualified. Even Roach's team knew they had been cheated out of what should have been a career-defining win. The fact that Tank wasn't punished for the knee, nor for the self-imposed timeout he took right after, only made things worse. However, there are still those who believe Tank's struggles weren't about dirty tactics, but simply that he wasn't focused.
I feel like Tank overall, like the bigger picture, he just wasn't focused for real. He, doing a lot of arguing in the ring and just a lot of stuff that wasn't like, he wasn't just focused. He wasn't all the way locked in the ring. You heard him say something like, it's a lot of things going on outside the ring that he was leading up to the fight, and shit, that's natural, you know what I'm saying? It's normal. Shit, I was going through the same thing this last fight, right? So.
Bob Arum didn't hold back when giving his thoughts on the rematch. And for someone like Arum, who has been involved in boxing longer than most fighters have been alive, to call out Tank's performance so directly speaks volumes. I thought Roach won the fight. It was a close fight, Arum told Sean Zell on March 28th. But then he took it a step further, questioning Tank's overall commitment to the sport. I think Davis has to start taking boxing seriously. It's not just a media kind of thing. I don't know the kid, but he seems sort of ordinary. That last statement hit hard. Calling a fighter like Tank ordinary is one of the most damning things anyone could say.
Personally. Naj, you got anything else from Lamont?
Yo, last question. I just want to know, how has your life changed since the fight, man? Obviously we follow each other on social media. I see your followers went up, all of the other stuff kind of going up. How has things changed for you since the fight has happened?
Bruh, literally overnight, it changed. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I got walk around with security, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I walk around with my peoples, like, it's crazy. I can't.
The truth is, Tank didn't look like himself that night. He wasn't explosive, he wasn't dominant, and he definitely wasn't the same knockout artist that fans have come to expect. If he had been performing at the level people were used to, that illegal knee wouldn't have even mattered. He would have been so far ahead on the scorecards that one bad moment wouldn't have changed anything. But that wasn't the case. The fight was even. Roach gave as much as he got. And now, whether Tank wants to admit it or not, people are starting to question if he's really as great as they once thought.
Tank won a rematch. Let me know now. Do you want to fight Tank again? He said he open to do a rematch. Do you want to fight Tank
100%. It's only a matter of time. We're gonna fight. We're going to fight again. It's just whenever the fight gonna happen.
So it's gonna happen.
It's going to happen.
Okay. They say they want it in New York again. Do you want to fight again in the Barclays Center?
I wouldn't mind, but I'd love for it to be in DC.
Okay.
I'd love for it to be in DC.
The biggest issue now is that Tank doesn't seem eager to run it back. If he was confident in a rematch, he would have already announced it. Instead, fans are left with vague statements and delays. Meanwhile, Roach is pushing hard for another shot, and Gervonta Davis is trying to jump into the mix before Tank even makes a move. If Roach ends up fighting Gervonta first and Gervonta wins, Tank's entire legacy takes a hit, because then, no matter what Tank does, people will say he wasn't the one who ended Roach's momentum. It was another fighter who stepped up and took the challenge.